Well, hello, good evening. A very warm welcome back to the Gridfinder social media channels here on YouTube and tonight on Facebook as well. David Christie here with you for another amazing community invitational night here on Gridfinder. Joining me tonight in the commentary box is one and only Ewan O'Leary. Ewan, good evening. Welcome along. We're here for F1 2021. Tonight we're off to Spa, and after the day at Spain, which we're not going to talk about at all too much, but we could do a little bit of a pick-me-up, I think.
Yeah, so you could certainly say that. But yeah, it's always great to be here. I love, obviously, this is where I started my F1 commentary, or my commentary at all, I've got to say, on the F1 games. So it's great to be back again after a little while. And yeah, it's always entertaining. All the races always throw up something a little bit strange, a little bit interesting. It's certainly going to be good to watch, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
And that's the thing, you're going to be my guided expert for tonight, Ewan. I'm fairly new to the esports world of F1 2021. Love watching it in real life, but obviously the community aspect in the esports competitive field, very, very passionate lot, and yeah, they take their business very seriously. Incredible racing from the couple of races that have been part of here at Gridfinder. We are in for an absolute treat tonight. If you're brand new to the scene here at Gridfinder, head over to gridfinder.com and get yourself signed up. Get yourself signed up and be part of the community here. If you're wondering what Gridfinder is, it is a fantastic service that allows you to register your league if you are running one, or if you're looking for a league, you can sign up and join in with hundreds of leagues that are operating across tons of different sims out there as well. They also offer services for livery designers and for people like myself and you, Ewan, for commentators as well. If you want to be part of the league racing scene, get on board there over at gridfinder.com and get yourself signed up and come and join us. And you can be in one of the next races that we do here. So, Ewan, obviously the big thing here tonight is that this is a massive, massive fight for bragging rights here on the Xbox, which is where we're racing tonight for F1 2021. Now, me and you, we've done proper big ticket competitive esports commentary for like events and stuff like that. I have never seen rivalries like when you get in with league racing.
Yeah, it is bizarre how it does happen like that. Obviously, you get all the huge events that allows everybody in, where literally anybody can participate. But it does feel a little bit impersonal sometimes, especially when you're trying to qualify for those kind of things. But in the leagues, you kind of build up a kind of, as you say, a bit of a rivalry with other people, and you can kind of see that a little bit more. So it will be great to see. Obviously, a lot of great leagues out there at the moment, as you will know if you scroll through Gridfinder on the odd occasion. There's a lot of great leagues out there, and yeah, we're going to see some of them on show, some of the drivers from those leagues, I guess, on show here tonight, and hopefully they'll put on a great show. But yeah, it's great to see that kind of thing in esports, in sim racing, and yeah, we look forward to seeing a little bit more of that here tonight.
So the schedule for tonight is that it's going to be a 50% length race, or 1 hour, whichever is quicker. So that is what we're going to be seeing. At the moment, we're going to be jumping in as soon as the drivers head into qualifying, so you won't miss a second of the action. But what I'm loving, Ewan, already, and I'm looking at YouTube specifically, is already we're getting the interleague banter going on. We're getting a little bit of shots fired left, right and centre. SRS and GRL are already giving it the big 1-2s in the YouTube chat. But how important do you think it is for these little fun exhibition races like tonight?
Well, I'm not entirely sure how important they'll be really treating this one. I mean, first of all, the pressure's off. In terms of it's just a kind of one-off invitational event, so you know it pressures off, but people still want to win, don't they? You never enter a race like this or at any level really not wanting to win, so they'll certainly be trying to do that. But yeah, it's all a bit of fun, isn't it? In the chat, especially people kind of throwing shade to other leagues. They're not really there's not too much meaning behind it, we'll put it that way. But yeah, it's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Oh dear, my poor little Ewan, you're so naive. It's just, it feels like bringing you into the lion's den. Honestly, just from my previous experience here at the past couple of events we've done, PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox as well. And again, we look at the likes of Assetto Corsa Competizione and iRacing and how calm some of those events can be. This is an absolute mosh pit of sim racing that we're away to get into tonight, and I've got to be honest, I absolutely love it. I love how dramatic it does tend to get. Of course, there is live stewarding going to be happening, or rather post-event stewarding, sorry, after the event tonight, and yeah, I get the feeling that the stewards are going to be very busy. So much so that we've now brought in extra stewards just to help go through all of the events, and yeah, some wild incidents that I think we're going to be in store for tonight. Spa. Let's talk a little bit about the track itself, Ewan, as we head over into the track itself. I mean, a legendary, iconic circuit, but one that really takes no prisoners in F1.
Yeah, and in any car, really, it really is a big challenge for everybody, this particular circuit. I mean, we see so much of it these days, don't we? It's involved in every F1 league. It will be on the calendar, even if you do a shortened one. It's in every league you can think of, pretty much on every platform. So it's not as if anybody, I should say, is going to be overwhelmed by what's going to happen here or under practiced. They're certainly going to know their way around, but that doesn't make it any less difficult at all. It is very tricky indeed, yeah, especially in these cars, of course, the fastest cars in the world to go around here, really. And it's yeah, a big challenge for everybody, especially during qualifying, where all of the pressure basically is condensed into about 100 seconds.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to see just now, as we are on board then with Swim I in one of the Mercedes. Now, just to explain for those who maybe haven't caught some of our previous invitational races as well. Obviously, you can have your opinion about what car is the best, but thankfully with F1 2021, we can completely remove that out of the equation and set all of the cars to exactly the same level of performance. And what that does is that gives you a level of equality that you will never see on any other sim racing game. Obviously, with some of the other sims that we commentate on, Ewan, we usually see maybe 10 drivers within a second of each other. I'm going to hazard a guess, you're going to see about 15 drivers within half a second of each other tonight. Such is the level of performance of these drivers.
Yeah, it is going to be very close indeed, and as you say, we'll be able to get these cars to the exact equal performance, which helps us out greatly, especially at a circuit like this one, which produces close racing anyway. We're going to see it especially close on this occasion as well. But yeah, it is going to be a big challenge for everybody. The biggest challenge right now, I'm just getting distracted at the moment because there are reports from some of the drivers that it is going to rain. I thought they meant in the race, but it looks like they mean right now. I can see droplets on the chassis at the moment of this Mercedes we're on board with, and I think they're racing around at the moment to try and get the best lap time in. This qualifying session could well be done and basically over with in the next 60 to 90 seconds because the rain is already falling by the looks of things.
Well, talking about a little bit of drama there, you're nice and early. We've barely had 30 seconds in our qualifying session, and it's already looking like it's going to be tipping it down here at Spa. Look at how wet it's starting to get through the tail end of the circuit here, and this is it. You know, your softs are going to be fine probably for about a minute and a half more, and now we're starting to see, you know, yellow flags starting to come out through Sector 2, Sector 3. Yeah, this is going to get very sketchy very quickly. If you're on softs and you can get a lap in right now, you are going to be king of the jungle because the track is just going to get slower and slower and slower. And this might be the quickest qualifying session I think that we've had here in the Invitational, Ewan. But again, just watching here as CRT Sanchez coming out the final chicane. Decent job there, comes across the line, and of course this is just starting to get the times in now. So Swim I there, 1:43.534 coming across to get that time in. But Yeah, it's not going to get quicker, put it that way.
No, it's not going to get quicker. Sanchez would have been the first driver to set a lap time there, but invalidated the lap time on that first attempt, so would have had the best possible conditions of anybody there, but clearly ran afoul of the track limit somewhere along the lap, which is another thing that's easy to do around here, and is going to find themselves a long way down in that Red Bull, I'm afraid. Down in 14th at the moment. It's only going to get worse. You can see these track conditions are already getting worse at the moment. It looks like NXR Mark has done a good job by the looks of things early on, and another one of the McLarens as well, with good lap times so far. But yeah, it's going to be very tricky to even keep your car on the road at this point, really, at any kind of decent pace. Never mind set a good qualifying lap time to challenge those guys for that provisional pole position at the moment. So Sanchez really let a great opportunity slip through his fingers there.
Yeah, great to see Craig Pinchbeck from the Grid Finder team actually making a brilliant point there. Not always best to secure pole here at Spa because of that ridiculous slipstream at the start of the race, and obviously that's going to bring into question the conditions at the start of the race as well. You might want to start a little bit, maybe start on second place or start a little bit further back. My counter to that is look at that rain starting to really lash it down here at Spa. Ewan, if you're a little bit further back, you kind of throw yourself at the risk of getting caught in whatever happens at the top of Radion.
Yeah, you basically are. It's such a dangerous part of the circuit. We've seen that in the past, obviously in real life and many different races down the last few years, and yeah, it's going to be so tricky up the top of there. I find especially when these new generation of cars, I say new, it's not really new anymore, is it? Since about 2017, had a lot of downforce on the cars. Rouge and Radion has been very easier with these F1 cars, but still not easy by any stretch of the imagination. It is still very difficult indeed. So you do need to be very careful, especially as the tyres are wearing down throughout the race, as I'm sure we'll see throughout the 22 laps a little bit later on.
Yeah, what a race we are in store for just now. But I'm looking at the times now and I can't see any improvements coming predictably, given that the conditions are getting worse and worse and worse. And, if anything, all of these drivers, all they're going to be able to do, you would think here, Ewan, is just maybe getting a little bit of practice for some inclement weather, because it's going to be very difficult to really throttle down the pace here in these changing conditions. But one thing we do see, one thing we do see here at Spa as well, Ewan, is the fact that as quickly as the weather can come, it can disappear as well.
Yeah, it can. The weather does strange things in valleys, and there are a lot of them around here. It's quite a undulating region, as you can tell by the circuit, and that does strange things to the weather. And so you're right, this could disappear just as quickly. We just wait and see, really. But from the looks of things, you see Suai and FGE Atom, they're just leaving already and deciding that enough is enough. Does suggest to me that might be that for the qualifying session in terms of dry weather running. It may well be just lightly raining until the end here. We haven't had a full weather report from anybody on that one, but I do think that'll be pretty much it for qualifying now. We'll see what the weather is going to be throughout the race, but if there is going to be a little bit of moisture, then it would be well worth the time and effort to get that little bit of practice in for the final 10 minutes.
Well, it's great to see NXR Mark channeling his inner K-Mag for Ultimate Formula Racing League in the Alfa Romeo, getting that thing up in a pole position right now, 142.593, ahead of what looks like the McLaren there of FRA JJHN. Just looks like, what's that, about 8/100ths of a second for Fury Racing Association. So Crispy Lol in third position, then half a second behind in third position, along with teammate by Derek as well. Looks like they're in the Haas's as well. And the one thing about having the entire field neutralised with this equal performance is that it kind of makes you almost a little bit wishful that this is actually how F1 actually was, where there was a genuine chance that some of these smaller teams, in terms of real life teams, actually were up there at the front end here, Ewan.
Yeah, there's certainly a time and a place for both kind of things. Obviously, we want to see the kind of development of the cars and different things going on with different teams and all of that. That's part of the beauty of F1 as well. But also it is very nice to see the close racing that goes on in these equal performance races on the F1 games. It does make you wonder and wish sometimes about that kind of thing. But that is never going to happen. Fortunately, things are a little bit closer these days than they certainly used to be 5 or 6 years ago. So that's a good thing. But yeah, it's not quite equal cars, but that's what we've got here, and it is going to prove to be very much closer. I mean, you mentioned there, obviously, in the few minutes earlier, we might see 15 cars within half a second. Yeah, that's obviously dry kind of pace, with if everyone gets the equal opportunity as well, which obviously everybody hasn't had. It's been a bit of a mad dash, really, for everybody, so it's not really fair on everyone right now. What we're going to see in the race, though, is going to be very close, because I can very much predict that, while I don't know all of these guys, that some people will definitely be out of position, because, as I say, not everyone's had an equal opportunity, an equal run at a good lap time on this qualifying session.
Yeah, as one of my good commentating buddies used to say, times for show, points to go. That's the key message out of tonight. And the thing is that qualifying is one thing here, Ewan. It's a completely different kettle of fish when you come into the actual race itself, as we've got yellow flags galore here. It looks like we've got a McLaren off in Sector 2 as well. Just going down the order, though, as we see So Crispy Lol here as part of that Gravel Trap Social Club in the Haas F1 team. Of course, they're a sim racing community with a focus on the community, built on the principle that the people want to kind of socialise when they're racing. And they welcome everyone who is looking for a tight-knit, supportive social circle. So make sure to check out the Gravel Trap Social Club and get involved with them. And I'm just watching here as EDLP 2022 here. I'm not the biggest of F1 experts here, but looks like a little bit of a connection issue with that car there, as it's taking some slightly interesting lines around the course here.
It does look a little bit weird. I think it is mostly connection, though. But also, it can't be forgotten that there probably is quite a lot of sliding going on around there anyway. At the minute, you can see the kind of shininess on the top of the surface at the moment. Can't be making things very easy for anybody around here. And those medium tyres as well, not ideal for the wet weather conditions either, especially in terms in relation to the soft tyres, which will be able to get up to temperature and keep a little bit safer throughout these conditions than these mediums will. But even so, I'm actually surprised with how well the drivers are actually coping with it. As I say, that somebody goes wildly off the road. But I'm actually quite surprised how well they're coping and what pace they're able to keep up at this stage. Those 4 drivers at the bottom there certainly, I think, will be in the last 4 positions on the grid, but they certainly have got those the order in which those positions come in to fight for at the minute.
Yeah, it's starting to look pretty rough towards Sector 2 and Sector 3. Not so bad up here just after Lecombe. So, yeah, it's a mixed bag, I think, the conditions are here at Spa, but certainly going down into Turn 1, into La Source, yeah, that's not looking all that great. And you see a couple of the drivers retiring from the session. They've called it a day, they've had enough, and they'll be joining us actually into the race. And now, full wet conditions, then DRS being disabled, and that, for, you know, if there was any hope of you actually getting full pace on a lap there, and that has now pretty much gone, and it's now 4 minutes of just getting some more data on the track.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. I'm surprised how long that's taken, actually, for the DRS to get disabled there. Normally it is fairly sharpish when the rain starts coming down, and normally the rain starts coming down a little bit, or it takes more of an effect on the circuit a bit sooner, really. So we're a little bit surprised about that, but either way, we've finally got the DRS disabled now, and you're right, any prospect of an improvement in lap time here certainly dwindling now, with these only 4 minutes to go. What I have seen, though, is a couple of whispers of rain in the race as well, coming late on. Hearing that it's going to be a dry start, but towards the end we could well see wet weather again, so valuable practice for everybody in these final few minutes.
That's exactly what they are going to need. 3 3/4 minutes left to go in qualifying for this F1 2021 Xbox Invitational race. And of course, just to reiterate what you'll be seeing tonight, this is a race involving a lot of the leagues that are part of the Grid Finder community. So to be eligible to join the race, your league has to be a league that participates through the Grid Finder community, and then obviously you can nominate people to race on your behalf. And a lot of bragging rights. I mean, we say that, and we said before the actual qualifying begun, was that it was going to be a bit of an exhibition race, a bit of a fun race, but I mean, there's still a lot to race for, and a lot of these drivers take this stuff very, very seriously, even though it's as we say, it's just a one-off race.
Yeah, it is just a one-off. As earlier, it just kind of increase the kind of motivation for an all-or-nothing kind of attitude, because there is nothing to lose here, but they all want to win at the same time. So it does encourage that kind of attitude, but also encourages good racing as well, because when there's too much on the line, sometimes it can take away from the actual entertainment part of it in terms of the racing, because they just want to run each other out of road. But hopefully we don't see any of that here today, and we just see good racing. But yeah, certainly bragging rights up for grabs here. And you can see on board with the hassle at the moment how difficult Eau Rouge and Réunion is becoming right now. Don't normally want to get on that inside curb on the right hand side, but gotten away with it on that occasion. And now running up towards Les Combes as well, which is a traditionally fiddly section as well. Not really wanting to monster the curbs too much here, at least at the first part. Then you can use a bit more on the final bit of Malmedy before heading downhill to the trickiest of tricky sectors, the second sector at Spa.
I'm always far too impatient for that long right-hander, really get myself onto the throttle way too early, and the back end just washes out. Talking of which, I am absolutely surprised at how much curb by Derek able to take here. Normally in other sims and other cars, you touch the curb on a wet day and you're going to be having a visit to the infield, usually followed by about several thousand parts of your car as well. But I mean, it's not looking like a bad lap here. In fact, has that time come down from our second place in the McLaren of FRA JJHN? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just seeing things, and it was maybe that it was the actual time that was displayed and not the intermediate. So I don't think that actually has come down. It certainly can't have come down, surely, in this weather. That would be a turn up for the books there. But I mean, that's surely it done and dusted here, Ewan.
It should be. There's only a few seconds remaining, only a few drivers actually out on the lap, and you just see the dry runners here, one of them in the Williams, and really struggling on these dry tyres now. No chance at all. You can even keep this one going. It's seen 2-minute lap times at this stage and over for those on the dry tyres, so absolutely no chance at all for anybody to improve on this occasion, I'm afraid. So that's going to be it for qualifying by the looks of things, but all good practice for the race a little bit later on. How late is this rain going to come throughout the race, and is it going to be early enough for people to think about the switch to wet tyres, or are they going to brave it out a final dangerous few laps on the dries to hope for a bit of a surprise win?
Well, that is what we're going to have to wait and see, as that's a big bit of contact for that Williams there of its courting. Currently 12.5 seconds, and that is going to give you an idea of just how off the pace this weather will make you. 12 seconds minimum for everyone there. Everyone else that's outside of that will actually set a time while it was relatively dry there. But it is Ultimate Formula Racing League in the Alfa Romeo that takes the top spot then. NXR Mark has all of the bragging rights so far just now, but again, it's all going to come down to how that handles itself in the race. Fury Racing Association taking second place with John 79, and then it is going to be the Haas in third and fourth position there. The Gravel Trap Social Club third and fourth position. So Crispy Lol and by Derek. And then we move to Swim Eye in Friday Night Lights Mercedes. He is going to be teamed up with X Hits the Spot. So fifth place for that Mercedes. But again, I mean, look, realistically, Ewan, this is going to be an incredibly close race that we've got coming on. Craig Pinchbeck obviously pointing out maybe you don't want to have that pole position. Maybe you want to be a little bit further behind because of that ridiculous slipstream that you get right at the start of the race.
Yeah, it's an outrageously long run down from La Source, or up from La Source to Le Combe, I should say, because it's a real hill as well. But it only adds to the fact that people are just going to come racing up from behind and flying past you as well. You'd hope not, of course, and they'll be using a lot of ERS as well just to try and defend from these positions into Le Combe. The inside line as well, of course, will be very useful indeed. But as you say, it might not be the best place to be in the world heading up there as we see the full qualifying results. Not as close as we were maybe expecting, but that's not exactly a surprise when you consider the weather conditions that we actually had there. It was not ideal for everybody. It was a bit more of a grab and go in terms of what lap time you can get, rather than a nice controlled and considered normal qualifying session.
Yeah, I believe the term in the industry that we use is a smash and grab. That's exactly
that was what I was looking for. Thank you.
That is exactly what that qualifying session was, because I mean, you really had to have your wits about you. If you weren't out within that first minute, that was it. Your qualifying was done and dusted. As always, we want to hear exactly who you are here supporting in the YouTube or the Facebook chat as well. Light it up with your favourite league, and as always, keep it clean, because we do have admin rights, and well, let's face it, we're just itchy trigger fingers, Ewan, is it? So as long as they're nice and well behaved, this is a fun race. Remember, I will constantly be coming back to that, by the way, because we're about to see how fun it is actually going to be. A good evening to Lewis McGlade, who is going. And without any further ado, we're already underway. No warning whatsoever. And NXR Mark gets an absolutely storming start there. John in second place there, with Crispy and Derek in fourth there.
I believe, by the way, we are on the formation lap.
Are we actually on the formation lap? All
yes.
I got in my ears was like, and it's lights out. And I'm like,
yeah, what? I know, yeah. I had to say, I've panicked a bit, but it's fine. We're not. It's fine.
There we go. Right. Okay, let's just bring it down a notch. I'm going to have to go and take a deep breath in a paper bag after that one. I was waiting to say, I mean, normally we get a little bit of warning for that one, but we can focus on the race ahead then. Top 10, NXR Mark on row 1 alongside with FRA John 79. Row 2 is going to be So Crispy Lol by Derek Swim in the Mercedes alongside CRT Sanchez. On row 3, row 4 is going to be ET Emase alongside JW Gibson 25. Row 5 is going to be Adrian 8 alongside Aerodev, and then FGE Atom in 11th place. On row 6 alongside Pre the Pro YT, and then row 7 BRT Meatburl with FRA Elite 45, DNG Titan in 15th, It's Courting in 16th, Andreas in 17th place, Osaki in 18th, and ALP 2022 in 19th. And I believe we've got a couple more cars. In fact, yeah, we do. We've got about 7 more cars outside of the top 20 there, Ewan. Right. We've not had a heart attack. We've calmed down, Ewan. What do we see coming in this first lap then?
I think I hope that we're going to see some, people taking things nice and carefully, realising that this race is not going to be won into La Source, and we can get a nice run down the Kemmel Straight. But what we are going to see, I think we don't often see, at least in my experience of races around here, you don't often actually in the F1 games anyway see too many absolute pile-ups into turn 1. But what you do see, is really, really intense racing going up the Kemmel Straight towards Le Combe. It is a real kind of elastic band effect where everybody's really rubber banded together, because you're just hitting a big block of air at the front of the field, and there's so much slipstream coming from behind you on that straight for so long. It can get really, really intense heading down towards Le Combe. So who knows what's going to happen there? But hopefully it is good, exciting and clean racing. Hopefully that's what we're hoping for.
A lot of hopefullys there, I'm sharing those hopes with you. Whether or not it happens is another thing completely. Keep your eyes on those front 5 rows. That is where all of the action, the chaos, the drama is all going to unfold as all of the drivers make their way on to the grid, though, as the next instalment of our Grid Finder Xbox F1 2022 Invitational races get going. I'm ready. I hope you guys are ready, all at home as well. The cars all lined up and ready to go. The lights are coming on here at Spa for a 50% race, and it's lights out. Let's get racing then. NXR Mark with a decent start, but not that good, as FRA John 79 trying to go round the outside, has to cut back in at La Source, and they're all streaming down the hill. There's chaos and carnage further back, and that is 12 to 15 all caught in there, and we've only got 7 cars that make it through just now, coming down up through Eau Rouge and through Radion, Ewan.
Yeah, absolutely. Contrary to what I just said, there has been a big pile-up at Turn 1. There's pretty much 7 cars left in contention at the front of the field already. Mark and the FRA, McLaren on the outside, looking to try and get through into Lecom, but no way of getting through, although Mark drops it completely in the first part of Lecom and already falls down the field.
That scares me to bejesus. See the car reversing back onto the field, and that's it. No front wing on that car. The damage is substantial, and that is how you go from hero to zero, my friends, in the blink of an eye. And that looked completely unforced from what we saw. We'll see if we can try and get some replays earlier on. But nonetheless, that now means that FRA John 79 is now in the lead of this race. NXR Mark going to fall like a stone through the field, and that is going to be a very, very difficult recovery drive for them there. So John still in the lead of So Crispy Lol. CRT Sanchez up at the 3rd position. The by Derek Haas all the way down in 19th. So similar problems there as to your former race leader NXR Mark, but we're still on lap 1. It's McLaren from Haas, from Red Bull of CRT Sanchez. The McLaren there of Swim I in 4th position. ETE Massey in 5th, with JW Gibson 25 in 6th position in Alpine. It's the 2nd McLaren in 7th. BRT Meat Burl in one of the Astons in 8th position. 9th place for Aurelius 93. DNG Titan in 10th position. But my God, Ewan, what an opening lap. Still think it's just fun?
Yeah, well, certainly not fun for some, as you said a little bit earlier on. Yeah, it's a difficult race for some already, and has been since the very start. But yeah, it did look like a complete unforced error from Mark, really. There, just defended from the McLaren quite well this time, last lap into Lecom, but really then just dropped it on his own completely. Obviously, tyres not fully up to temperature just yet in the race. I went into the wall. Lecom there, out of the race now as well. He's already left the session, so is out of the race now already, I'm afraid. So that's going to be it for him. And there he's getting front wing change, but he's no longer in that car anymore. But yeah, it's a real shame for him, because as you say, he was in a great place to do something in this race, because as we've seen already, the amount of cars at the front of the field really reduced from that lap 1 incident.
I don't know what I find more spectacular, that opening lap there, Ewan, or the fact that we've got Haas in 2nd place. My mind is struggling to take all of this in. This is reality that's going on right now, but So Crispy Lol doing a fantastic job, and great to see a lot of support for a decent start. In fact, a very good start for Striker Racing Series. The Red Bull of CRT Sanchez already up into 3rd position there, and that also means that his teammate DNG Titan, who didn't get a qualifying lap in, remember, all the way up at the 10th position. So what a start from them.
Yeah, great start. I mean, if you can pick your way through some of these opening lap real kind of whatever you can call that, if you can pick your way through, then it's great, because you'll gain up loads of positions. Sanchez, another one of those, up to 3rd at the minute. So yeah, I mean, it's a great start for some, but very difficult for others if you do get caught up in that. I guess it's one of the things, especially at a circuit like this. I said there wasn't going to be incident into Turn 1, and that almost certainly caused it. So yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, if you can pick your way through, then it's absolutely excellent, because you can be like one of these three, I suppose, out front of the field and continuing to get away from the rest of the field.
Oh, and that looks like the Haas has gone. That's exactly what's happened. So Crispy Lol, too late to close the DRS. The car lost it at the rear under braking, and you saw him taking way too much speed into Lecum there. Absolutely terrible to see that there. Devastating news for that Haas, and the excitement has now turned to absolute misery for that Haas team then. But that means that CRT Sanchez, your fastest driver on the track right now, in second place, and he is poised, waiting to go to try and take that position from FRA John 79 right now. We've already got a 3-second time penalty for multiple track cut warnings for Osaki. Now that is out of the top 20 there for us, 16, excuse me, for Osaki there, just saw it pop up there, but wow, that is super early. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2, and that looks like it's one of the Alpines that's brought that out. That could be Osaki that's actually brought that out as well, but yeah, just to confirm as well, NXR Mark back out on track, but it is AI that is now driving that car, as they had a game crash. The game froze midway through a corner there, and their internet has just completely died. So the two of them are going to be very much related factors. So a little bit about CRT Sanchez. So as we are currently watching FRA Elite 45 in the McLaren here, this is a cracking little battle here for third place right now. Fury Racing Association really taking it to the Mercedes right now of Friday Night Lights. Surely this is going to be done on the Kemmel straight down into Lake Coombe there. Oh, that's a big moment at the top of Radion for the Mercedes. He's going to have to yield, and that is going to be a position for Fury Racing.
Yeah, getting a little bit wayward on the top of the crest of the hill there over Radion, and that was an easy move for Elite to get through into Les Combes. So, yeah, thankfully it didn't result in a bigger incident, but just getting things a little bit wrong through Rouge and Radio. You do need to, I said earlier on, it's a flat-out corner, it's very easily so, but you do need to get the line right. You can't just go through there in any old line and go flat out expecting nothing to go wrong. So it's still something you definitely have to think about as we see another 3-second penalty come up. It's obviously going to be a real factor here today. These track warnings, by the way, if you go over the 4 wheels over the white line 3 times, you get a 3-second penalty, and it will continue on until you stop doing that. So you do need to be careful of that throughout the race.
I think 18 penalties is the most I've seen in one race from one of our invitationals. And look at that, Elite 45 for Fury Racing, straight round the outside of ETE Massey, V3 F1 with nothing left to answer for as they come through towards the final chicane just now. That looks like it's done and dusted from the McLaren. V3 F1 going to try and go right back round the outside with ETE Massey, but it's not going to happen. And now Fury Racing have an incredible, and that's an Alpha Tauri with a Ferrari off in the background there. That looked like it was Praise Pro VYT off in the background. In fact, no, it was Aerodev, wasn't it? And that might have also been, is that Adrian 8 into the pit lane. So huge contact there.
Yeah, only caught the back end of it really, but through Blanchimont there, big contact. Already these cars, by the way, have had big problems throughout the day, and so has both of the Haas cars now. You can see them down in 14th and 15th after that spin at La Source. So, yeah, big contact. There are no small crashes at Blanchimont, are there? And proved by that, you really saw that we had the positions gained indicator on the left-hand side a few moments ago. There are basically 2 types of car in this race. Half of them have had just been able to pick their way through the chaos, and half of them have been in the chaos. And that's pretty much how this race has gone so far. So, yeah, it's just adding to it. And another one, I think, out of the race on the exit of Les Combes, looks like. We're trying to sit, and there on the left-hand side, you can see one of the Williams off the road, I think that was, already out of this race.
Goodness me. JW Gibson retires from the race in the Ground Effect Racing League Alpine racing for them. Oh man, that is gutting to see so many drivers already having problems at such an early stage. But what I'm going to say right now, keep an eye on Elite 45. That huge charge up the field is absolutely continuing. It doesn't show any signs of calming down. He wants to get that second place on the field right now, as we've got yet another yellow flag, and that is going to be another one of the Alfa Romeos, I think. Excuse me, no, that was a Haas that brought out the yellow flag there. So, I mean, lap 6 out of 22, and it's safe to say, Ewan, this has just been just absolute chaos.
Yeah, it really has been. Obviously, we're hoping for clean racing and all of that. It hasn't been car-on-car incidents and people, doing anything wrong in that respect, but it has been a lot of crashes so far in this one, it's fair to say. And that is a shame to see. You don't never really want to see that. But yeah, sometimes it is the way that it goes. And that's how it's been in this race. But yeah, a lot of chaos. As I said earlier on, if you've just been able to pick your way through the chaos, then you will be in a good place right now. And that's what we've seen for some of those guys a little bit further down, as we see one of the Williams getting through on another one of the Red Bulls into Lecom, side by side through here. Nice bit of side by side, but looks like Titan might just be able to hold on. Yeah, just about. Escorting that Williams onto the outside line and making sure that he stays in ninth place.
Oh, that was a beautiful, beautiful bit of defensive driving there from D&G Titan on the Williams of its courting there, holding it through all the way around the outside of Lecombe there, thinking, I'm not going to be having that at all, as BRT Meatball gets a 3-second time penalty, as well as its courting for multiple track cuts. And there we go. That is exactly what happens. You get the message across the radio, you get distracted, and before you know it, you're into the nearest wall. I've seen it so many times, and believe you me, he will not be the only one to do that tonight. In fact, I think that's already what has happened to several of the cars there. That looked like no, that was a Red Bull.
Yeah, I think it was Titan in the Red Bull. We were just watching that car side by side through Lecombe in a great battle, but it looks like, well, actually they might have come together there, because the Williams that Titan was battling there, his courting was is kind of in that area as well, so I wonder they might have come into contact there, but not entirely sure. Either way, there has been, obviously, we definitely know the Red Bull has got around. They both drop well down the field outside the top 10, as we see some pit stops here. I reckon some of them will be down to damage, but also can't be too far away until we see those soft tyres beginning to run out of steam a little bit here, because it is a 50% race. It also means 2 times tyre wear on these tyres, so you do have to be mindful of that. And we're approaching half distance, not too far away from half distance, and these soft tyres are going to be beginning to struggle just a little bit, playing into the hands, of course, of Elite, who we've already noticed is having a fantastic start.
Yeah, it's been a really good start for the top 10. If you've been in that top 10, then you've really had the run of the luck, but Swim Eye kind of fallen outside of that just now, as Craig Pinchbeck getting a little bit controversial here, saying that the drivers must be getting the same tailwind that Sainz and Verstappen had today. Well, to be fair, I'm not seeing any hissy fits about DRS so far, but that is literally the last time that you're going to hear us talking about today's F1, just in case you haven't seen it or you've got it on record or whatever. But back to the race here, lap 7 out of 22. It's still Fury Racing Association with a firm grip on this race. Currently first and third, and if I'm being completely honest, it is just a matter of time before they get past that Red Bull Striker Racing Series of CRT Sanchez. In fact, here we go. This is done, dusted, signed, sealed, delivered, as easy as you like. Elite 45 in second place. The Red Bull will try and get that position back, but if you ask me, these two are going to be very, very difficult to catch from now on, Ewan.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, it's hard to see without a divine intervention that one of these three aren't going to win this race somehow, because it is looking very good for them, especially Elite in a very strategical position as well, very strong position strategically. But in terms of FRA at the moment as well, they can play this one a little bit off each other, because Sanchez obviously here on his own, Red Bull teammate miles away at this stage, actually coming back at Elite here into Lecombe, but won't be able to do anything there. Elite holds him off for the moment and will continue to carry on in second position. But yeah, they can try different strategies if they really want to here, and they already are in this McLaren, of course. One of them on the softs, one of them on the mediums, and they're doing different things slightly, so there's no way that Sanchez can cover them both off in terms of the strategies that they're doing. He's got to pick one, and if he picks the wrong one and or is not fast enough, then he won't be able to win the race. So the FRA McLarens are in a really, really strong place.
Well, I'm going to throw another spanner into the works here and say Elite 45 in a very strong position to take the win here, and I'll tell you why. John 79 is on soft tyres, Elite 45 is on the medium compound, so those tyres are going to last a little bit longer. I think probably the next 2 laps, those soft tyre drivers are going to be right in, as we see side-by-side action then. That's Massey and EDLP 2022 there. ETE Massey gets the position back there and jumps back up into that 6th position. Decent effort going on there from ETE, but by Derek and Haas getting sent all the way further backwards there, and that is a huge F moment in chat for that one. I'm pretty sure that he was going to need that wheel, and that is good night Vienna. Virtual safety car comes out, and I'm going to think that that is a
full safety car.
Safety car. Well, there we go. Oh, and John 79 straight into the pits there. So that's inspired to go straight away before the safety car gets out.
Yeah, perfect position for him, really. I mean, it's an absolute disaster, in all honesty, for Elite. We were saying in what a strong position he was in, but he absolutely did not need a safety car for the rest of this race, because that would really, really screw him over. Now he's going to either have to put the hards on or stay out under the safety car. Neither of those options are particularly appetising for him, I'm afraid, so that's not particularly great for him. Obviously not as bad as it is for Derek, of course, who's out of this race at this stage. But yeah, the safety car is out. This race is going to change and turn on its head over the next few moments, but not in the way that Elite would have wanted at all. He was in a strong position if this race ran green from lights to flag, not if the safety car came out midway through. He'll be very disappointed about that.
I was just picking up something there, just being the observational person that I was there, and watching Elite 45 and the line that he was taking through that corner there, and seeing two of the four wheels over onto the grass there, and I was wondering if there was anything behind that. Maybe it was a visual bug there, but it did look like that. And knowing how competitive these drivers are, and knowing just how much they know about the game, and how much they're willing to push things just to get that extra couple of tenths. It's amazing the little tips and tricks that you end up picking up.
Yeah, he does do that for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. I haven't seen anybody else doing that really, so I don't think it's any particular gain you get from it, but you just don't have to go to the bother of tucking your car to the left briefly and then back to the right again to open up poo on as much as possible. So I'm not really sure why he does that, in all honesty. But yeah, he, for whatever reason, does decide to stick down the AstroTurf on the right hand side there. But either way, he's into the pit lane now. It'll be interesting to see what.
He'll get away with that, actually, Ewan, because he came in so far ahead, and because it's a safety car, he'll actually come round. I think he might still have the lead here.
Oh, I don't think he'll have the lead. I think he just come out behind his teammate. He does indeed just slot into where he was. But what tyres did he put on? That's the more important thing here that we can't quite see yet. Let's hope they don't all hit each other as well as they slow down to get under the safety car. Hard tyres it is there. So yeah, I mentioned there, he obviously had the option to stay out maybe and hope for a safety car later, or hope that his pace would kind of make up the difference, or put the hards on. And these hard tyres, while they are going to make it comfortably to the end of the race, they're not going to be as quick as the mediums are for the remaining 12 laps.
Well, you see, you say that, and a couple of months ago, I remember one of the invitationals. It was one of the, I think it was like somebody that wasn't actually part of the Grid Finder community, and just decided to pop in for the race. And I swear he had hards on and was beating times of those on the soft tyres. And yeah, there was a lot of uproar about that sort of thing, and yeah, questions were asked, but. Normally, you would say that the hard tyre is going to have to be slowed here. The medium, though, there's a lot of pace in that. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, So Crispy Lol actually has the fastest lap so far just now on that medium tyre when he came out of the pit about 4 laps ago there. So be interested to see how that one pans out. But well, there we go. Mr. Caesar saying commentators are introduced to the esports line. And I did wonder about that, because I wondered if it was something to maybe do with the cooling of the tyres, or maybe the pressures, but that makes no sense if he just went and pitted the lap after. So yeah, not really sure about that. But I mean, look, that does bring up an interesting point, doesn't it? Because like all sims or all games or whatever, there are limits to how realistic that the game can be. And there are ways in which you can unrealistically do things with the game that give you an advantage. And it's when you're in competitive competition, it's all about finding those fine lines and straying that boundary.
Yeah, it's all about finding the small advantages, isn't it? They do add up, very much so over a race like this. So yeah, I mean. They'll try everything, won't they, really, to find a tenth or two here or there. But yeah, I don't really understand why they do it or not. It might shave off a few thousandths, I suppose. But yeah, there we are. It is a bit of a strange. The worst thing, it looks just strange, doesn't it? That's the most thing about it. It just looks a bit weird, really. Certainly to me. But yeah, I mean, there we are. They choose to do it, and it seems that a lot of the top guys do as well. So yeah, I mean, fair enough for that. But it doesn't stop it from looking that little bit odd when it comes up on our camera screen, coming out of No Name towards Puon. They're just in the grass.
So just saying that NXR Mark has caught up to the back of the pack, and of course this incredible broadcast technology. We're actually able to broadcast live from the Nether Realm, because NXR Mark obviously has left the session, is no longer with us, and is actually part of the AI, so appears as a ghost in the session. And to be fair, I am quite jealous, because I often wonder, I think AI me would be far faster than actual real life me at this game.
Yeah, unfortunately the AIs here won't be as fast as these guys were, unfortunately, for them anyway. The idea is, by the way, is so that you can get back in again if you disconnected or something, in case you're not aware, anybody watching. But it doesn't look like they're going to be returning, because Osaki as well, another one of those, is in 15th position, not having a great time of things in the first few laps before eventually departing as well. So it does look like we're down to 14 by the looks of things, in quite an attritional race in the first half. But let's see what happens in the second half, really. I'm especially interested to see what happens to Elite here. Does he fall backwards at a vast rate of knots on those hard tyres, or does he begin to take a step forward and stay with these mediums, at least early on, before maybe making a run for the win a little bit later on? But certainly FRA slightly less strong of a position than they were just before the safety car, but still a good place to be in 1 and 2 at the moment.
We're about to find out. CRT Sanchez then for Striker Racing Series in the pound seats. He's got two of his rivals right in front of him. Also keep an eye on ETE Massey. He fancies having a go at this one as well. Swimai recovering from that lap 1 incident there, getting himself back up into P5. But the safety car lights are off. The safety car peels in, and it's now John 79 that becomes the de facto safety car, waving and bobbing and frantically moving the car left to right, trying to keep the heat into the tyres. And it's negligible what effect that actually does, but my god, it makes you feel like an awesome racing driver doing it anyway. He lights up the rear tyres. John 79 out of the way then. Fury Racing Association 1-2 for the restart. Let's get racing again here at Spa. The green flag flies and we are back to the action. Chaos and carnage behind yet again. 3 wide going down the main straight here into La Source, because of course, why not? What could possibly go wrong here, Ewan?
Well, yeah, thankfully it's much cleaner of a start than it was on lap 1, and everybody able to get through nicely without too much contact being made. But we're already seeing the top 3 that were away from the rest of the field to the tune of about 10 seconds before the safety car, once again getting quite a big gap. John, Elite and Sanchez all getting away by about 1.5 seconds already, after only one sector of this racetrack. Atom and Massey trying to keep on terms with them, but struggling to do so in the background.
Yeah, remember, cold tyres and no DRS this lap after the safety car. It will be in the next couple of laps that DRS gets brought back on. ETLP getting another 3-second time penalty here. We cut back to So Crispy Law in the Haas onto the back of the Williams of its courting. This is coming down through to this left-hander here. Is it going to be a dive up the inside? No, thinks better of it. And again, for it being, and I use quotes, a game and a bit of fun, the level of racing, the level of sportsmanship and the level of racecraft, absolutely second to none here. This is what I love. I mean, again, you and I've said this before, right? We do commentary on, really big high profile stuff in what are considered to be more serious sims like iRacing and Assetto Corsa and the likes of that. And this is what I love, is the fact that the racing here 100% is just as good as anything you will see in any of what they call the pro sims right now. And we cut back to the leader, second place, John 79, Elite 45 Fury Racing Association still trying to get away from CRT Sanchez, but have a look at Atom. Now, where has Atom 77 come from right now? Because that Alpine looking very, very fast indeed. He's going to have DRS onto the back of CRT Sanchez, and he'll also be trying to catch onto the back of these McLarens right now, but lap 13 out of 22, and again, this front four just breaking away here, Ewan.
Yeah, fastest lap of the race so far for that Alpine in behind it. It was absolutely needed as well, because that gap was growing and it was going to continue to grow if he didn't stamp that and put that fire out, so to speak, immediately, and that's exactly what he did to make it 4 for the lead. Now, Massey was not able to stick with the pace there, and the gap to him grows to nearly 2 seconds now. Yeah, very important fastest lap there for Atom to get onto the back of Sanchez. Now has got the slipstream, will get the DRS up the Camel Straight next time around, and then we'll really see what he can do in the remainder of this race. But just noticing around the horizon at the moment,
rain?
It could well be. I was going to say it was getting darker, but I didn't think the rain was going to come quite this early.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's looking misty. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, not raining yet.
Not quite yet, but it does look like that's some spray starting to get picked up from the back of that car in front. It's definitely on its way. Definitely some spray starting to get kicked up through this tail end of the circuit here, and it's going to be a little look up the inside for Elite 45 then. Team Orders obviously not in any contention whatsoever with the Fury Racing Association right now, as BRL Meatball tries to send it up the inside, and it's not really working on the Alpha Tauri of Adrian 8. He does get it going though, sends a little nudge up the inside, and poor soul Crispy Lol gets a punch in the face for all his thanks there, but that's going to be up the inside again for BRT Meatball. No way is So Crispy Lol. I thought that Haas was just going to try and sneak up the inside of the two of them there, but it wasn't quite to be. So it's still the Alpha Tauri up in front of Adrian 8 ahead of BRT Meatball, and So Crispy Lol up beside him as well. It's going to be 3 wide down the Camel Straight. This is going to end in tears, and yeah, this is getting a little bit argy-bargy for my liking here.
Yeah, lots of aggressive squeezing there from Meatball, but he does get into 9th position. Adrian didn't really stand a chance there with those different in tyre compounds. He was always going to get completely mauled by those two. And the Haas, I have to say, especially on this restart, very, very impressive, very, very aggressive on this start, making up a good few positions, now into 10th position on this particular occasion. So it's a good restart there. But yeah, it's very aggressive squeezing and moving about going on down the Camel Straight there from Meatball, although it just managed to get all those positions as intended, so nothing really went wrong there, thankfully, and yeah, in the end it was just good racing, yeah, but a couple of free wide moments to enjoy there. Could always go wrong, but it's always good to see when it does not.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. You know, it's like that meme with the dog and the whole house is on fire. This is fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Right, so FGE Atom still catching my eye right now in that 4th position, racing for Ground Effect Racing League in the Alpine. You're currently behind the Red Bull of CRT Sanchez right now in that 4th position. Is it going to happen though? Has a little look up the inside there, down into La Source, into turn 1. Down the hill. This is where it all matters here, Ewan, because it's so important to get a good run up through the hill. And I'll tell you what, that is definitely looking a little bit damp there at Spa.
It is, but the rain's still holding off for the moment. There's still no rain coming down, although the conditions are certainly getting darker as the McLarens now exchange positions again. I feel like this has been happening a couple of times while we've not been looking, because yeah, I feel like that's just the most efficient way to do it, really. Just exchange positions down the straight and you make your way through. As we see these two making another move on a couple of others. One of the Mercedes had gone off through Lecom, and there it is. Coming out of Malmedy, it was the Surai going off the road, I'm afraid, and dropping outside the top 10.
Hero Zero yet again, and it happens all the time. Another yellow flag gets brought out, and I get the feeling that is going to be Swim Eye spinning down again. He ends up going down. NXR Mark somehow somehow an AI managing to make up a couple of positions here, so that's an insult to injury, I think, for some of the drivers here. But this is still focusing on BRT Meatburl here, in between a rock and a hard place right now. He's got Arliss 93 just behind him, about 7/10 of a second, and so Crispy Lol about 3 seconds up the road, although that looks a lot like, in fact, no, sorry, excuse me, 7/10 of a second up the road. I'm reading the time screen completely wrong there. Also looking at the gap to the leader as well, as you said, I mean, they're just toing and froing between John 79 and Elite 45 right now, but I'm getting very nervous if I'm in the car right now and seeing those guys. 6 laps left to go. How long can this track hold out here? Surely that looks like it's starting to get a little bit dangerous out there.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't really see any rain coming down at this stage. Don't really think
it's just wishful thinking, you. I'm just literally making prayers to the rain gods right now.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes at the right point, then we can hopefully have a few people trying to brave it out on dries till the end, and a few people who have to make the switch on to wets. It does sometimes happen around here, as we see Atom making his way through on Sanchez. I think there was a mistake from the Red Bull, because Atom went through at a strange point on the circuit that you wouldn't normally see an overtake made, but Atom won't really care. He's through, and he's on the soft tyres, which might be a reason why he's been so strong early on, as Meatball has got through on the Haas there. So that's all well and good for him into 7th place. We see Titan getting a 3-second penalty there, something we'll have to watch, especially for that front 4. Any penalty is going to send you straight to the back of the group when it comes to the results later on.
I love the fact that Elite 45 is on the hard tyre. You know, just absolutely caning it out in front. Nearly a second to the good here right now. And yeah, he's doing a grand job of holding it out there. It's very cold conditions here. You can see that it definitely looks like a lot of mist here. Very murky conditions here at Spa. And I think that's what's been confusing me so much here, Eunice, because on the stream it does look quite a lot like rain, but it's just really thick clouds.
Yeah, there is a lot of kind of thick cloud, misty kind of conditions going on around at the minute, so it does make it a little bit hard to tell. But when we see onboard shots, it does make things a little bit easier for us to tell like this here. Although we can see maybe a droplet there. So
yeah, I saw a droplet like that. It's raining. Yeah. Everybody inside. Get the wets on.
Well, yeah. Normally the kind of a point for it, as we see the Williams in now. Normally the point for making the switch is when the DRS gets disabled. Normally you can stick it out at a decent pace with, oh my goodness, with the dry tyres, because while the dry tyres won't feel great in these wet weather conditions, the intermediates aren't really built for those conditions either, and they won't feel much better, as these two have been at each other's throats for laps after lap now, and unfortunately they have come to blows.
Wow. So right, well, look, we all saw what we saw there. I don't think we need to speak about that. That was pretty brutal. Right, okay, so yeah, more fun exhibition racing there. All I can say is Race Control are going to be very, very busy tonight. Oh, dearie me. Right, John 79 still in the lead of this race from Elite 45. Atom 77 though dropping a little bit further down behind. Just to comment on, was it It's Courting who went into the pits? He didn't go into pits because of the weather. He went into pits because he was spun off and potentially had some damage. So that was the main reason that he was into the pits. But oh, this is getting a little bit shady now. We've got 3 cars within 3/4 of a second now. That track temperature coming down and down and down. Confirmed that CMP in YouTube chat saying we now have rain on the track here. Oh, this is a different complexion. 4 laps are never going to feel so long, Ewan, for these top 4 drivers.
Yeah, it's going to feel like a very, very long remainder to this race now. I think Atom's decision is kind of going to be made for him, though. He's going to wish this rain falls a bit quicker, because I don't think those softs would normally go to the end very comfortably anyway. He will be struggling with tyre wear a little bit later on in this race, if indeed he is going to stay out the whole way. Elite tries to go around the outside at Lecon there and doesn't quite make it on his teammate. That was a brave attempt on the outside line there, but he couldn't quite do it. And now Atom is right on his heels, coming down the hill again into the middle sector. But yeah, I think the Alpine is going to be in for wet tyres as soon as possible. These softs will put on under the safety car with still 12 laps to go. That's a bit further than you really want to take the softest compound around here.
That's bizarre. Did you see the line at Elite 45? He did it exactly the same time, same place again. Like 3/4 of the car off onto the grass there, just to get better traction into the corner. But huge power slide coming out of the corner there for Elite 45 as well. He is really, really struggling on those tyres right now. The Alpine looking a little bit more stable right now, but this is starting to get very, very sketchy indeed here. The McLaren's starting to streak off now. That looks like, what, 0.6 of a second up the road. Another time penalty coming in for the drivers here. Honestly, this is an Oprah meme at this point in time. You get a penalty, you get a penalty, you get a time penalty as well. The two McLarens getting very, very close here. I have the horrible, horrible feeling that this is going to come to blows between these two, because it got way too close that last time coming into Lecombe, and I actually think there was a little bit of contact from John 79 on Elite 45, completely unintentional, but just too late on the brakes. And of course the braking distance in these changing conditions goes through the roof here. But have a look at FGE Atom 77 right now. He is absolutely on it. Ground Effect Racing League could be on shot here for a second place as they come up the hill. Elite 45 with 3-second time penalty. That is absolutely massive. That's going to be them off the podium.
Well, very costly, and it would see them off the podium as things stand. Another attempt at the lead of the race. Elite obviously going to be hoping that everybody around also gets a 3-second penalty. They can't be too far away, but if you can just stay off of those penalties, then you will have a much better chance of winning, of course. As we see Adrian finally making up some moves here. Obviously taking his time to get into this after the safety car, but those tyres coming to him now and starting to make up some positions as the two McLarens try to race away. Elite is going to want this lead. He's going to want to try and pull up a big advantage as possible, but let's see. I do think Atom's tyres are beginning to go away from him in these conditions. In normal dry conditions, the wear on those tyres would be beginning to get a little bit unbearable. In the wet weather as well, it's certainly becoming a problem, as we see now for him. So he is starting to fall off the pace.
He really is, but the thing is, it's too late in the race, surely. 3 laps left to go, and unless the conditions deteriorate massively and through into the lead then, is that though, for Elite 45? Yep, it is. So John 79 tucks in behind there. He's going to try and get his way up through the field, but they're still going to be side by side. In fact, no, it's not. The saner heads prevail here. 3 laps left to go. They're just going to have to muscle on through to the end here, because changing to inters right now is absolutely pointless. Look at what's happened to Swim I and BRT Meatburl. They're the only two on intermediates, and they're way off the pace. There's no point there. And that's a massive moment there for FGE Atom. It looks like there could have been contact there with the Red Bull, the CRT Sanchez. Sanchez up into 3rd position. That now means Sanchez is on pace to get 2nd place. BRT Meatball will get another penalty just now. But that was a massive moment for Atom, and the two McLarens going side by side again into Lecombe here.
Yeah, it was a duo. It was a now or never kind of dive from Sanchez there, seeing the writing on the wall, almost decided that, well, I've got to go now, otherwise these McLarens are going to go away, because Atom's tyres are starting to go away from him, and he is right, but he might have cost himself the DRS for the rest of this race from these two McLarens now, unless they fight, and the likelihood of them fighting is so low, because they're first of all on the same team for a start, and one of them can't really realistically win this race anymore because of that penalty, so be very unlikely to see that. So I mean, Sanchez has got a real job in his hands to try and win this now, although they are fighting by the looks of things. Elite into pit path, goes around the outside through the first part, into the second, he tries it, but he goes for a spin, gets caught on that inside curb and ends up in the gravel trap.
I'm sorry, what? Did that actually just happen? Did the two McLarens have it 1 and 2 and end up fighting? So Elite 45, not only has he got a time penalty, he's now well and truly out of the top 5. And you've got to say, Ewan, that was... well, look, fair's fair. I mean, look, there's obviously no team orders here, but you'd think 2nd place or 3rd place might have been better than ending out the top 5 still. you pay your money, you take your chances, and that's exactly what Elite 45 has done. He's ended up in 5th position, and it'd be interesting to see whether or not there's any damage on that second McLaren as well. He's going to try and get his way past the Pro YT in just a couple of seconds, but that's 1.7 seconds behind that car in 4th place. But as it is, we're on to the penultimate lap of the race. This is watching FGE Atom and then FRA John 79. What a race we have had so far, really. Fury Racing Association, heroes and villains in this race. John 79 doing a grand job there, but you wouldn't put it past CRT Sanchez. And Elite 45's gone! He's gone off at Eau Rouge, and that is that game done and dusted. It's gone from hero to zero for Fury Racing Association. They could still get the win, but it could have been so much better. It could have been the dominant 1-2 if it wasn't for that silly move onto his teammate. But it's not all over yet. Have a look at CRT Sanchez. 0.5 of a second, and he looks absolutely rejuvenated on those medium tyres. Of course, remember, John's on those hard tyres, and that is starting to get very wet down there indeed. We look like you, and we're going to have a 1-lap dash for the cash here at Spa.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. There's one more opportunity really for Sanchez to get through. He'll be hoping that the DRS will not be disabled until he gets to that point after Eau Rouge and Radion there. Will he have one more chance into Les Combes to try and get through? It's all going to come down to there really, unless he can do something special at the bus stop chicane on the very final lap. And with the conditions deteriorating like they are, it would be a little bit more difficult than even it would be normally at this stage to make a move there. So let's see. I mean, Elite wasn't exactly... he was entitled to go for a move there. Just whether it was the sensible idea or not is another thing. As they slide their way onto the final lap, the DRS gets disabled at the worst possible time for Sanchez. He's going to have to do this the old-fashioned way and just try and get through normally.
Yeah, brute force is going to have to be the way here for CRT Sanchez. He does have the run though. He's coming down through the hill towards Eau Rouge, and Radion 0.5 of a second. That's going to slide down and down. That's a good exit out the corner there. 0.4 of a second. He's going to be into the slipstream any second now, but is it going to be enough here? Coming down on the run through into Les Combes, the final lap of the race. You couldn't ask for more drama on this, as Fury Racing are still trying to hold on, desperately clawing on to this race win right now. But the CRT Sanchez, the Red Bull, wants to try and take it from them. The Red Bull of Striker Racing Series, the Mexican, currently living in the USA, bigging it up for the Stars and Stripes tonight. He really wants to take this. It's a little bit too wide there, and that might be it. John 79 streaks off into the sunset. An 0.8 of a second gap there, and that should, given that we've got very treacherous conditions coming into the rest of the circuit here, that should be it. 0.7. It's going to come down very quickly, but I mean, you got to credit CRT Sanchez for the just brilliant effort he's had tonight.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant effort pushing John all the way by the looks of things, but it's not going to be enough. Just needs to keep things within the white lines as well. Make sure you don't get a penalty, don't run off the road, don't make a mistake, and the win should be yours. That mistake at No Name does look like it's been enough, and strong straight line speed as well from this McLaren, which has really helped it as well. Keeping some ERS in reserve for this final lap has kept him with the lead, and it looks like Sanchez is just going to run out of laps, run out of corners to make this move.
Unbelievable stuff, but the Invitational Xbox F1 2021 here at Spa. It's a race win for Fury Racing Association. John 79 takes the checkered flag there. It's going to be CRT Sanchez for Striker Racer Series in second place. And then Ground Effect Racing, Atom 77 taking third place there. What an absolute race that was. That was incredible stuff. It's a Ferrari in 4th position of Axel Racing Esports, Pretty Pro YT, all the way from Mumbai, using a control pad, taking 4th position there. ETE Massey in that 5th position there. It's going to be so crisply lol after all of that drama and heartache in 6th position. Adrian 8 in 7th. NXR Mark, the Ghost The apparition that is NXR Mark finishes in 8th position. It's Courting in 9th, Osaki in 10th position, Aurelius 93 in 11th, Swim I in 12th, DNG Titan in 13th position, and EDLP in 14th as well. But huge congratulations there, Ewan, to Fury Racing Association. That was an incredible race there.
Yeah, a very good race indeed, and only 0.6 of a second separating the two of them at the line in the end, which is really remarkable indeed. So yeah, great race, and Sanchez pushing him all the way to the line as well. And of course we can't forget about Elite, who was up there and battling throughout that one as well. The two McLarens helped each other most of the way. I don't think John really did anything wrong in their fight, I have to say. Elite just made a bit of a mistake. You never really want to get too high up on that inside curb, really. Otherwise, you do spin around like that and end up in the gravel. So, I don't think Elite can be too disappointed in John for that one. But yeah, it was a great race indeed. Sanchez pushing him all the way, but you just get the feeling he might have done... or might have got there if he was just given one more lap. But either way, John was able to hold on throughout the 22 laps and take that race victory, a very deserved one at that.
Yeah, certainly is. You can see the celebrations post-race here for the virtual drivers here. As always, for the drivers that have taken part tonight, if you want to pop onto the Grid Finder Discord server, pop into the interview waiting room. We would love to come and have a chat with you. But there is confirmation of the finishing results there. A great win for Fury Racing Association, John 79, the Mexican CRT Sanchez for Red Bull, and FGE Atom for Ground Force Effect Racing League in 3rd position. Brilliant 2nd place though for Striker Racing Series. SRS going to be absolutely delighted with that one, Ewan. And I mean, obviously another brilliant invitational race in the books there. What do you make of that?
Yeah, no, a very good invitational race there. I thoroughly enjoyed it. A very attritional race, it has to be said, here at Spa. Obviously, we talked about it at the start being a very difficult circuit to get yourself around here, but wasn't quite expecting as much incident in terms of cars going out of the race than what we saw there. But as you say, it was an invitational, so people haven't really got anything to race on for if things go disastrously wrong. So yeah, there we are. As you see the bottom of the results there, a lot of drivers you can see in that list were out of it. But yeah, very entertaining indeed, and thoroughly enjoyable. I mean, it just showed towards the bottom of that order there, Atom having dropping nearly 5 seconds back. Those soft tyres really fell off towards the end. It was only going to be between the McLarens, of course, and Sanchez as well, who hopefully some of whom we'll get to speak to in a few moments.
Well, that is exactly what we're going to do. Let's have a chat to 3rd place then, Ground Effect Racing Leagues. FGE Atom 77. Atom, congratulations on the 3rd place there, but what an absolutely crazy bonkers race that was.
Yeah, I mean, that was intense, especially at the end, because it wasn't worth it pitting for the Inters. It was basically skiing.
How bad was it at the end? Because obviously we weren't sure how the conditions were. It looked like it was getting wet, but then it just suddenly, really became a downpour.
Yeah, it was alright for the most part, but due to the game, the right moment to pit for Inters was lap 21, which wasn't on, of course. But yeah, at the last 2 laps, I had to lift for almost every corner already, where you normally go flat out. But yeah, last two laps were horrible, but luckily I had the gap to the cars behind.
Well, either way, a brilliant result for Ground Effect Racing League, and getting onto the podium, you've earned a little bit of a chance to chat about the league, because I know obviously you're a sort of co-owner, co-founder of the league there. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, Ground Effect Racing League, you mentioned it already. We're racing currently on Mondays for people from Europe. We just want to create wheel-to-wheel combat, which is nice to watch and nice to race in, as almost every league, I guess. And from next game onwards, we'll also have a North American / Mexican tea on Fridays. So yeah, search us on Gridfinder, I guess. Join our league and find out if you want to join us. It would be a pleasure.
Excellent stuff. Well, congratulations again on getting that podium position tonight, Adam. Cannot wait to see you back out on the grid.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nice comms.
There we go then, FGE Atom 77 there. Let's have a chat with our second place driver then, CRT Sanchez in the Red Bull for Striker Racing Series. And a very good evening, Sanchez, all the way from the Stars and Stripes of USA. Congratulations on second place there. It's safe to say that SRS are going to be very happy with you tonight. Well, see, what Sanchez has actually done is he's accidentally muted himself there. So we'll see if we can get that sorted out and bring him in there. There we go.
Is it a server thing? I'm not. It's happened before. So. It could be.
We'll double check and make sure that he's not. But in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll pop him back down into the waiting room. We've got a driver in by the name of. This is what I love about Discord and users joining, is that they never join with the name that they've registered. So we've got Buckles. I'm going to haste a guess to say that's John, a race winner, but we'll double check, because Buckles, firstly, you're going to have to identify yourself, my friends. Secondly, did you enjoy that race? And it's another driver that's got himself on mute here, Ewan. I think we're going to have to talk to you. What do you think Buckles would have to say for himself right now?
I don't really know. Well, here we go.
Hello, Buckles. Who do we have here tonight?
I'm representing the Gravel Trap Social Club. My drivers were Crispy and Derek driving the Haas tonight.
Awesome stuff. So tell us about that, because the Haas's were looking so strong towards that early stage of the race there. You must have been gutted to see how it unfolded towards the end there.
No, absolutely. We had great positioning at the start. They were very fortunate in their qualifying, getting out there before the track got too slippery, and we had hoped to turn that into a surprising result. Unfortunately, we had some bad luck at the start there, and then we all saw Crispy's interaction with the Aston Martin after Eau Rouge, which I'm sure the stewards will take a look at. So I'm not going to speak on that in too much detail. But we're very excited about showing up to this event and pulling away with a P6.
I love the fact that you're not saying too much about it, Buckles, but the daggers are literally foaming from your mouth when you're talking about that incident. Joking aside, though, I mean, a great result, though, for So Crispy to get into sixth position, though, obviously shows very well for the community that you guys have got over there at Gravel Trap. Tell us a little bit about the social club.
Well, it started out as a very small group of just people that wanted to, we saw a lot of leagues that we've raced in where some people just kind of show up, and they show up on Saturday mornings and they race, and then you never hear from them again. There was some people wanted a more social environment, so that's what we aimed for. And we've even expanded it out to other racing sims like Dirt 2.0 and ACC. We obviously have an F1 championship that races twice a week, and now we've just opened up something called Formula 5 that we've invented, where it's teams of 5 racing each other in a very team strategic like format, and it's kind of an expansion on the social angle of the club, is to group everybody together and have a more personable experience.
That sounds absolutely fantastic, Buckles. Thanks so much for sharing that with us, and really look forward to seeing Gravel Trap Social Club back with us in the near future.
Absolutely, we'd be happy to be there. Thanks for having me.
Excellent stuff there. So that was General Buckles from the Gravel Trap Social Club. Make sure to search them on gridfinder.com as always. Right, moving on, because we do actually have Strikers Racing Series. Not only do we have Sanchez, but we've also got CMP Official, the league owner, in to have a chat now. I can see CMP has got mute, but I can also see that Sanchez has actually taken his mute off. So let's have a chat with the guys from Striker Racing Series. Firstly, Sanchez, are you there with us?
Yes.
Excellent, my good man. Right, talk us through that race, because that was absolute craziness.
I had a pretty decent qualifying. I invalidated my first lap time, which probably would have been the better of the two, as the track was a little bit drier. So I think I was a little bit out of position at the start. Luckily, my launch and the second stage of the start was pretty good, so I made up to P4, I think. And then Crispy spun in front of me, and NXR Mark went into the wall, unfortunately. And I was just trying to stick in the DRS of John, or Jed, my bad. But I fell out of it because of Crispy in the unfortunate spin. The rest of the race is just keeping calm, keeping consistent, especially when that rain hit and the track got slippery. I just kept it consistent. Luckily, I had good pace, and yeah, that led me to P2 in the end.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall there, Sanchez, when you're in fourth place and you see the two McLarens up in front, and then suddenly you see Elite 45 getting it into that trouble, and you got the podium out of that. What was your reaction when that happened?
I think I was just trying to calm myself down, not get too overexcited, make a mistake, so I could keep that podium that I just been gifted, pretty much. So yeah.
And then obviously we've got CMP in the channel now. He is on mute, so I'm not sure if we're going to hear from him tonight. In fact, there we go, the mute is off. CMP, welcome along. It's safe to say that was a very, very good day out for your driver there.
Oh, do you know what? I couldn't have asked anything more from my two lads. You know, they put in an absolute cracking drive. Just unfortunate for Titan at the end. He just got a little bit of a tank slapper in those wet conditions, so that unfortunately meant he finished down in P13, I believe it was, after getting himself up into P7. But, you know, Sanchez, I couldn't have asked more. You know, the main goal was just to try and beat GRL because we are partnered up with them. So that was the main goal, was just to sort of beat them. I did say, you know, secondary target, if we get into the top 5 or into the top 10 or even into the top 5, you know, it'll be an absolute fantastic result. So I'm very happy for Sanchez. You know, drove his heart just as much as Titan did, and yeah, couldn't have asked for more.
And obviously a lot of support out there for SRS in the YouTube tonight. Tell us a little bit about the community that you've got over there.
Yeah, so SRS was founded back in December of 21, so we're still a fairly new league on the scene. We started off our inaugural season in January, just coming towards the end of our very first season for the F1 division, or series as we like to call them, hence the name Striker Racing Series. We have 2 series at the moment. F2 performed in the F2 cars, with F1 obviously in the F1 cars. We've just finished our season for F2. Both races are on Sundays, with the F2 taking place at 5 o'clock UK time, which kind of act like our support races for the F1 race, which takes place from 7 p.m. UK time as well on that on the same day. So, and we try to keep the tracks for the F2 races the same as when the F1 races as well. So it definitely gives that feeling of being a support race. You know, we're willing to, you know, accept all drivers, regardless, you know, where you live around the world. Be nice to see, you know, drivers from all over the place. We do have applications currently open for our second season in both F2 and F1 as well, which will obviously be started when the new game comes out in July.
Excellent stuff. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us tonight, CMP. Congratulations to you. Sanchez, congratulations to yourself as well. A very well fought second place, guys, and we cannot wait to see you back with Gridfinder again soon.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
There we go, Ewan. Wow, and breathe. What a night of action we've had here at Gridfinder.
Yeah, it's been a really great night of action. As I said earlier, quite more attritional than maybe I was expecting, but yeah, very entertaining nonetheless. I'll tell you what I've most enjoyed about tonight, especially going back to my history commentating on the F1 leagues and so on. A little bit of a grey area, or a kind of a don't talk about other leagues kind of thing in leagues in my past experience. But I love that here people can come on and promote their league all at the same time as enjoying some good racing as well. So that's nice to see as well. I like to see that bit of promotion with each other is always nice. So yeah, I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed the racing as well, and hopefully I'll be back soon again. But yeah, it's been a fun evening.
Yep, and as always, we have to say that all the results at the moment are provisional, pending Stewart's investigations that may or may not be happening. In the meantime, though, that is us for tonight. A huge thank you to everyone out there that has been watching us tonight. A huge thank you to yourself, Ewan, for joining me in the commentary box, and a huge thank you to Mike Yao as well, behind the scenes on production. And also, we have to say a massive thank you to Cami Starch again from Go For The Gap. And you can check her out on Twitter, Facebook, Etsy, everywhere that you can possibly find online as well. What Go For The Gap is a fantastic little personal art brand that Cami runs. If you've ever seen it before, you know what to expect, but if you haven't, it's these beautiful high quality illustrations that are themed around motorsport. Most of them tend to focus around about the F1 scene, but you do get ones around about Le Mans or GTEs, all that sort of good stuff. So go and have a little search for it. Click in the link in the description below, or just search for Go For The Gap on Etsy as well. A huge congratulations to our race winner, John from Fury Racing Association, because he will win himself tonight, taking presuming that he holds on to the win, he will win himself a print from Go For The Gap. So a huge thank you again to Cami for sorting us out here at Gridfinder with that one. But that is us for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eyes on the social media for Gridfinder over at gridfinder.com. Also check out Grid Rival, which is the fantastic fantasy F1 game here at Gridfinder. We've teamed up with Grid Rival to give you a very special little league. So if you think you know your P's and Q's, everything that little bit better than everyone else, head over gridfinder.com/Grid Rivals. We'll pop a link on the social media tomorrow for you to check it out, get yourself onto the league as well, and we'll see you there. Until next time, from myself and Ewan and everyone here, have a wonderful night and enjoy the rest of your weekend.